Yeah, our lads have been in a good place. To be honest, over the last couple of weeks, they've been training really hard. And I feel Saturday we got a rewards for that. I think when you look at the four goals, as you mentioned, four different goal scorers. I think we had two or three different assist providers. So across our floor players and midfield players, we had seven goal contributions in the game. So we're pleased with the spread of the goals and the assists. And we're delighted for the players. Obviously, Will Grigg, getting a goal, coming off a Mandy Cross, which we had spoke about last week in terms of the emphasis that we're putting into our final third play. We believe that we could penetrate a bit more and play forward a little bit more, cross the ball a bit quicker. So the big focus has been on those principles that we have as a team, and we're really pleased that we've seen the byproduct of that in the game last week.
Griggy, you mentioned getting on the score sheet, and following up with that, he's signed a contract extension with the club.
Yeah, we're delighted that Griggy's agreed a new deal. Griggy's a top player and a top professional, and he offers so much value around the club. When you look at Will on the pitch, he brings so much to the team. Not just some people will judge Will because he's a centre forward on his goals, and he brings so much more to the team than just goals. How he creates space for players, how he brings other players into the game, how he occupies centre halves and that high line for us that allows us to build. He's just such a clever footballer. His football IQ is so smart. So to be able to have someone of Griggy's character and experience in the building, without even talking about his quality, is massive for us as a group.
Yeah, like you say, his quality shows through on the pitch. He doesn't need to prove that, but like you say, off the pitch, I know Gunn has mentioned it in the past. Young striker, and the one individual who he's found really helped him is Will Grigg.
Yeah, Greg, he's always keen to help and support anyone that needs it. Like even as coaching staff, we'll have discussions with Griggy around things around the final third, things around the box. For me as a coach, it's invaluable being able to bounce ideas and thoughts off players like Griggy, and we've got a number of players like that within our group. We're fortunate that we've got a core of senior players that have had very good careers and have played at multiple levels of the game. And it would be naive for the likes of myself not to tap into those experiences. And Griggy is certainly one of those players, and always happy to help to lend a hand.
It's been great to see Dylan Duffy back running up at the Irwin training ground this week. Have we got any other injury updates?
Yeah, it's great to have Dylan back. As I said, he's probably been saying he's been fit for about the last 3 weeks, but that's just his love of the game and how much he wants to be on the grass. So we're made up to have him back. He's had a tough week running, which will be good for him. We're hoping sort of within the next 2 weeks or so that we'll have him back in full training. Other updates, Luke Butterfield has had his boot off, so a small step for him. The crutches are gone and the boot's off, so he's now walking and weight bearing, which is a big boost for him. His work whilst he had his boot on and his crutches didn't stop, but he's now able to increase that, and we're hoping to have Luke back on the grass in a number of weeks. Dibs is obviously more months as opposed to weeks. Dibs, it was just a really bad injury for such a good young player, and it's so unfortunate, because Dibs is good around the building as well for such a young lad. But his is a longer process, and his will be, as I said, more months than weeks.
Looking at minutes and fitness, we had the Central League game earlier in the week, a great opportunity to give like the likes of JD some playing minutes.
Yeah, no, we're made up that JD obviously agreed to sign and stay at the club, and important for him to play the game during the week and playing in a position where we feel he can offer a lot of value. Playing at centre back. It was good for a host of players. James Barry obviously returning from injury. Important to give Dobbs or to give Bez some additional minutes. Likewise with Lee Bonus, and a couple of other lads, Adam Lewis, that needed minutes. So they're invaluable for us.
Alex Whitney was playing alongside JD. What a great opportunity for him to play alongside such an experienced player at centre half.
Yeah, really good for him. And when you look at the team, we had Adam Lewis on one side and JD on the other, with Ryan Boot behind him. So it's really good learning for Alex, and it gives us an opportunity and an opportunity for Alex to demonstrate how the stuff that we are working with him in training, both as a group and individually. Can you then replicate that in a game alongside our players, where there may not be the pressure of a bigger crowd that maybe comes with a Virtue Trophy game or even a league game if he has to go in and play.
Looking at Colchester then, up this weekend, the Cowley brothers, very kind of hard to beat. I'm sure they won't be happy with the league position, but our preparation's been going for that one.
Yeah, no, we've had a really good week, continuing on from the good week that we had last week. The lads have trained well, they've worked hard, and we go into it a game this weekend that we have no illusions is going to be a really tough test. As you mentioned with Danny and Nicky, they set their teams up really well. The Colchester team that they've got now probably should have more points on the board than they do, based on the the games that we've watched over the last number of days. They've got athleticism at the top end of the pitch. They can run. They can play long if they need to. They have players in the middle of the pitch that can handle the ball, players at the back that can help them build. So they have a style that they can play if they want to play. They can be direct if they want to be direct, and they'll be competitive. And we are under no illusions that when we go down there, we're going to have to be good if we want to get anything from the game, and we're going to have to play very well if we want to take maximum points.
Yeah, if you look at the fixture we had down there last season on a Tuesday night, it was kind of the end of that bad run, and it ended up kind of changing the season. But it gives you a real good insight into the kind of game we can expect.
Yeah, no, 100%, and that game in particular never it doesn't leave you. I still remember it like it was yesterday. For one reason or another, but I think we left Colchester at 17th maybe in the table. But the most important bit was when we left there, that we never stopped believing that we could get the playoffs as a group. So whilst for others it might have seemed that we were out the race, for us as a group, and given the crisis with injuries and stuff that we had, we never stopped believing, and that's strength to the manager and the staff to instill that in the players. And but it was a tough night. It was a really tough, difficult night, and we fully expect the same. But we feel we've prepped well this week on how we can hurt them, and how they can and how to counter how they can hurt us. So we go into the game looking forward to it.
Finally then, just a word on the supporters. We've had a few long away days already so far this season. I know we're quite early in, but seem to be going down that area of the country quite a bit. What kind of difference do the fans make on that?
The fans are huge. Like, it's one thing I picked up on as soon as I come into the club. The home support was bouncing, but then when we went away, like the volume of support and the numbers that travelled, how vocal they were, and when you go to places like Colchester, Bromley, places like that, they're tough places to go, and at times that we'll have to dig in, and we'll have to defend our box, and we'll have to work hard. And you know what it's like when you're under a little bit of pressure. You need a little bit of a lift at times. That can come from us on the side, but inevitably it comes from 500-600 fans that have followed you all the way down south. So we really appreciate the support that they bring. The players support it, and hopefully tomorrow we can produce a performance then that they deserve with the travel that they're going to make.